don't you get the vibe, like the 1970s vibe? Somebody being chased. Yeah, that's what we wanted to create with the song. The Gettin Betta show. This is at Harris for this. Man, is this 8th edition? 9th? This is 9. Episode 9 of the Gettin Betta show. Yeah, so we're going to be just kicking around the horn, these different concepts from time to time. I know if you've listened to any of the shows, the previous shows, we've been talking about various things. The last episode, I believe that we brought you had to do with startups and, five things that I learned when you do a startup or start a business, and wow, it's been an interesting ride. And I've talked to you guys before and told you before about feeling so beautiful. And that has been an amazing story. Yeah, still working on my wife. She works some really long hours, keeps a lot of activity up and everything like that. Like most moms, man, she's a super mom. And even though the children are older, we do have the grandchildren, and we got life happening over here. By the way, you hear the noises and stuff like that in the background. It's more of, I just want to pause for a second. And if you've heard some of the other episodes, it's cool. I'm going to do, but I got to tell you this. I could have waited possibly until, get the right studio. There's studios in my neighborhood or in my community where you can go record. Maybe I could, perhaps wait until we had budget and then go up there and buy a time and then, professionally get everything mixed. I mean, that is the way you want to do it. I'm not stunting like, that's a bad thing. No, that's necessary. However, when there's a passion, when there's a burning in your gut, when you have a desire, by the way, this should be, this should be a tale from the trails. All right, let's hit it. Get a little inspiration music here. Tales from the trails. Trail nuggets and wisdom brought to you this week by Feeling So Beautiful. Feeling So Beautiful, all natural organic hair and body care. You can go to myfsbstore.com and get more info. The awesome Hava Harris founded that awesome business as a testimony to perseverance in 2020. Check out myfsbstore.com. Get yourself some more info. Yeah, so what I was leading into, and I wanted to go ahead and incorporate in this special segment of Tales from the Trails. All right, some trail nuggets. So we got to put the trail thing to. Wait a minute, like wait a minute, hold up. We gotta, really drama it up, right? So yeah, absolutely dark one night, and as I walk through the trails, I can't do it, guys. Look, in this walk in life, we could wait until it's absolutely, we've talked about this before on the show, until the conditions are perfect. You say, and if you can do that, y'all, go ahead and do that. Save up, mitigate risk, make every attempt to make sure what you launch is covered, indemnified. You got it all squared away. You got a mentorship in place. Everything is everything. You could do that. However, sometimes, like what we were starting to talk about, the noise in the background here before I went on 5 tangents. Sometimes you have to go because the passion, right? And you rather go with passion and get some help along the way and build a little bit at a time and do a little bit and let that consistency and that dedication to your passion build momentum, and as that ball begins to build bigger and bigger, then perhaps you can find yourself in a studio, buying studio time, maybe a beautiful studio. Maybe you always wanted to record in a famous studio. Maybe you always wanted to record in New York. Maybe I never had any visions of like, let me record in New York. That I think like as we're thinking about it right now, hey, that would be a great idea to record in New York. record in LA and California, record in Canada, record in Mexico, record in different places and different venues and stuff. I never even thought about it myself. But maybe then all of a sudden, because you had that passion, of course, we're using kind of me as a backdrop on this, and my desire to just get back on a microphone, even if it's a crappy microphone, and not be in a studio. I know this pangs my son. I have one son that's more into music and sounds, and he's really, really into that. Does recordings and videos, is getting more into photography, everything like that. Hates the fact of these shows and the podcast because they're not delivered in a quality way. And what my answer to him is, yes, it is not quality. However, I have the passion and the desire, and I want to get better, and I want to continue to improve what we bring to y'all so we can grow in this thing together, because guess what? It is the Getting Better show. That's what the show's all about. That's the core DNA of the show. Is why I feel like I was led to name it that. Okay, that's this week's Trail Wisdom, Tales from the Trails, brought to you by myfsbstore.com. Again, check her out, myfsbstore.com, if you want to get some health for your bate and for your hair. All right, man, so many things going on a business front. I'd love to know what you guys are working on. What kind of projects have you been led to do? That's something interesting that you could do, is you could drop us a line or even post and say, I'm working on construction, and just a quick couple nuggets, maybe a couple lines about that. Here's what I found and I need to, develop or improve on. And I thought maybe I would go when I had all the perfect conditions, but I decided to continue to persevere and go on anyway. Man, I can just tell you, we, just on that tip, there are so many things that will stop, a person if they're not truly in it. If we started a business in 2020, and I've talked about this before, and it was really based on the app. We wanted to deliver the app, and now so we just couldn't get the app delivered in this season. We spent money and research, and it was a passion, and man, we were all in, hours and hours and hours in the day. Got loans and all sorts of stuff. Thought, man, this thing is gonna hit, and not in this season. And what I want you to know is, I still have a fire in my belly to get some type of outdoor offering done. We have, and we're going down this path today on the show for a reason. Perhaps there's somebody at some point going to listen to this, and this is what they needed to hear. It may not be for anybody else here. It may be for one person. So I realize that. So kind of on a tangent today and having fun. And, that was really our desire anyway with all these shows, is to ship something that was fun, to ship something that was interesting, and that perhaps can encourage other people. What would be most beneficial is just to talk about when it's a good time to pause, or even to let something go. I remember talking to my mentor one time. I have many mentors. I don't have as many mentors now as I had when I started back in the day, but I still have mentors. I still have 4 mentors that I can call on. Now, do I call on them like I did when I was 30? No, I don't call on them that way. Our relationships have changed. We're all a bit wiser. We all, at least we want to believe we are. And so, man, as you look at, what is the best time? I was talking to him about pulling the trigger, or what you would say an exit strategy. How about when it's time to stop doing this? And he found it very interesting, for a young man that had not really even started his career yet, to be asking a question about an exit. Now, we never developed an exit strategy, by the way. one happened upon us, but we did not plan it. I feel like it was divine intervention. And if you're listening and you were around it, something else was happening. It just wasn't us. There were some other things at play. Had to be. Too many unexplained phenomena, my friend, to bring it to an end for us. For us to say, yeah, that was just, and even if we had an exit strategy, if we had one and we had used it, that's not saying that it would have been perfect. Every time you deliver something, there will be a little bit something off. Just, we don't over focus on it. You don't. But I remember asking him that because, when do you let it go? And that's, for those of you who've tried something, I think that's a juicy point. When do you let it go? And I think, my answer is you have to let it go when it's starting to bleed over into other areas of your life. And it's starting to become counterproductive and almost becoming a problem. I think that's when you have to let it go. As I think about that, I don't know what else you think about that. Love to hear your thoughts. If we were sitting around a campfire, this would be one I'd love to kick around. I mean, you get some legends around that campfire. Chris Frankie, my God, what a gifted human being. Man, you get people around that campfire, like my mom. She's a legend. That's a bad mama jamma right there. Man, you get her and just get different people around that fire and you say, when is a good time to let it go? And I think the answer is when the thing is starting to drip over into other stations of your life and causing it a problem. I think that's when you let it go. When it's starting to almost show up as counterproductive, it's starting to hit the meter. It's in the non-productive meter already, mind you. And then if it continues, it'll end up in the problem area. It's going to go over in the red area. We don't want that. We don't want that. And so I think that's a good answer. I don't know what you have. Like I said, you should post something under the comments section of this show, what you would think about that particular point. Hit that point out there, throw that out there, and we can kick that one around. I've never been a gambler, never had any aspirations, but I've seen and watched television shows, all right, where, I know enough based on what they're fabricating and showing us. And I know they're like, don't have don't go in and just have your credit card have a preset amount. They call it a preset amount or something like that. I don't know. I've seen that. So if you go gamble, you got to have that preset amount. I think that's good wisdom for you when you go forward with the business. Is that if you, again, you're going to have to sit down with someone or bounce this off of someone. I would highly recommend at least getting with someone who has business knowledge, intelligence in that area, and then having a conversation with them and saying, what would be a good preset for me? What are some measurables that I can measure when I know that, all right, if we get to year one and at the end of year one, we've spent more than 70,000 or maybe 7,000 or maybe 700. Whatever your number is, and we were supposed to exceed X amount of these deliverables, and you might have a supply deliverable, which could have certainly been impacted by what's going on in the economy right now. Who would have predicted that there'd be some global pandemic that global pandemic kicks off all these other economic factors, and that some of that is absolutely going to negatively impact and negatively impact a lot of things, but negatively impact the supply chain. So if you had a metric, or you had a number or box that needed to be checked for that, you need to have, there's going to be probably be a little bit of an adjustment for that based on how it impacted everything else, right, in your entire business. And so, yeah, you got to make sure it's a plan. It doesn't mean that the plan will be executed like we were talking about before, flawlessly, just like these podcasts, these shows. I know that they're not the best that they'll ever be, but we have to ship something, and I have to get out here and go out and share with my family and friends, and share from my heart. And that's what these are. And so that's why they don't have maybe the structure and the sophistication of the things that I've done in the past. But you know what? I had to get something out, and we'll improve as we go. We're going to work on it as we go. And so I think having a preset is a good thing. When you think about something you're launching, you don't want to end up like mortgaging your house, taking a second mortgage out on it. So now you are all completely in. And if this thing, there's just so much pressure with that. So much. And I get it, because we've overspent on so many projects. Like, I'm the king of it, so I get it. But I'm saying, because I have had that experience, it hasn't left us in the best of positioning. And so that's 100% straight, uncut, raw. Take it if you want it. Keep it on the table if you don't. But I'm saying to you, you must keep your eye focused on these things, because your passion will take you over the limit. It's just like being in love. Man, when you're in love, when that love bug first, when that love bug, let's play some love bug music. Something, can we get anything? Is it possible we can get something? All right. When you get that love bug and that thing gets on you, you don't care. Like, you forget what time it is. I remember waking up like I did not care when that love bug bit me with Hava Harris. I can't even. It bit me, and when it bit, and you can't even think straight. And for some of you, it's that way now. I know for me, I feel that same way now. It's just mellowed. But the intensity is still there, right? The intensity is like a cloud hovering over the situation. It's still there. It's just not a rain cloud. It's just not sitting right over your head where it's impeding the sun. It's in the background. It's providing a little bit something in the atmosphere, but it's not disruptive. It's and I'm sitting and I go clouds, because who goes clouds when they think about their relationship? They've been married, and they all of a sudden is pointing out all the flaws of the spouse. But for me, it's clouds. It's clouds, and I'm not a meteorologist. I don't know how to describe it the best way like that. But when that love bug hits you, my friend, it will wipe out all your conscious thinking. It will. And so, you got a double segment today in this show. But anyway, so because your romance with the project and your dream, which it will cause some things to come to pass, but it also can, if it's not checked, it can take you out of bounds and knock you out of some good things that you may be wanting to do in the future. I know that's what it did for us. A lot of the things we wanted to do in the future, we didn't take care of the plans that we needed to plan. And so then we're not at this time able to do the things we wanted to do in the future. We have to prolong those things. And that's what I mean by, maybe setting that preset and maybe thinking about that you have to, as you are in a romance with this thing and you're just completely 100% committed to it, that you do set some kind of boundaries for it so that it doesn't, overwhelm. Man, we're over time. I'm on here riffing with you guys, having way too much of a good time. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, please like and subscribe. Also, share this show with a friend, family member, relative, or even an enemy. You can use it as warfare. For now, it's been Ed Harris for this edition of the Gettin Better Show.